Right. Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you here. Miss Gauri, I guess. Right. Good. Can you all come a bit closer, please? The ones who are at the back. The one in the hat. So is this what? An open class, or is this first class of GS4 ethics? First class. Okay. Okay. I see some faces from last year, I guess. Right? B8 batch. Good. I have just few questions before I start. How many of you are going to write mains this year? Anyone? Okay, not an issue. How many of you have already done one basic reading of ethics so far? All of you? All of you have attended some of the other ethics classes prior to this, or is this your first time? This is your attended. Whose classes, madam? It's okay. You can tell the name of the Pati sir, is it? Good enough. Right. Anyone who has written mains prior to this? One person. What was your score back then? When was this? 20? Yeah, how much was it? 80. Good enough. Okay. So what I am going to do in the initial part of this class is, I will just give you certain basic things that you have to know when it comes to ethics in the present scenario. I am not going to talk in detail about ethics syllabus or anything like that, because I am assuming that you people have a general idea about it. But worst case scenario, you don't have the general idea. Before I start any topic, I'll be taking questions from 2013 till 2022, and I'll be discussing what are the themes that they are going to ask in all of this syllabus. Right? All I want from your side is some patience, some more of interaction, and a bit of sincerity. That's all. Does anyone know what this exactly is? What this is? Can anyone tell me what it is? Is it a pendant? It looks like a pendant. Yes or no? But what we call this in English is talisman. Have you heard of this? T-A-L-I-S-M-A-N, talisman. There is this one ethical concept called as Gandhis Talisman. I think it was in the year 2019. In 2019, our Prime Minister Ramnath Kovind, in one of his speeches, had spoken about Gandhi's talisman. So what exactly is this? Now, whenever we start our day, or on a daily basis, there is something called as a dilemma. Yes or no? Horlicks पीना है या Bournvita पीना है? Something like that. But moral dilemmas are a bit more complicated. So what Gandhiji said was, whenever you have a moral or an ethical dilemma in front of you, think of the person that you are going to help. Let us say your decision will affect some poor person. Keep that poor person ka image in your mind, close your eyes, and imagine you doing the action. Now, if that action puts a smile on that poor man's face, puts some sort of food in his plate, then you have to go ahead and do it. Right? One of the ways Gandhiji had spoken about to resolve moral dilemmas. In all of our ethics classes, in this crash course, what we are going to do is very simple. We will visualize you people sitting in UPSC ethics examination hall. Imagine they give you a paper in 2013 which was relatively easy. Let us imagine they have given you an ethics paper from 2022 where it was like Ekta Kapoor ka serial. Long ones, long questions. Even in the worst case scenario, the content, the delivery, the quality that we give you should not let you be confused. That's our goal. Mine as well as Shashank's. It was, when was ethics introduced? You remember? 2013. Quite a lot of ethics paper I have written, even Shashank sir has written. We have done well in that. In the last few years when we have been teaching, there are few people who have managed to crack ethics exam in the last couple of attempts. We will be arranging few discussions with this rank holders as well. We've already made sure of that, and eventually in the due course of time, you'll get that, where you can have a one-on-one conversation with this rank holders as well. Now today it is going to be a 3-hour class. But from tomorrow, it's going to be a bit more than that. So how we are going to divide this time that we have in front of us? I'll be teaching you certain ethical concepts. I will be giving you notes as well. Apart from that, in the class itself, how many of you like writing answers? In general, not ethics answers, in general. One person. How many of you write? Or how many of you like writing ethics answers? Okay. How many of you have not practiced writing ethics answers? Gottittu. Right? You were raising hand here for everything. Madam, ethics answer vardiralla, madam. You are from B3 batch, is it? Yes. Your writing means this time? You are not writing. Okay. So coming back. So I will be giving you questions in the class itself. I will be giving you due amount of time. Within that time, I want you to put your thoughts over there. Immediately after you finish writing, there is going to be a small discussion. We will discuss how your answer should have been. Then and there itself, you will have a self-evaluation. You're getting my point? And what is remaining in that 6-hour duration, in that remaining period, we will revise what we have done on that day using mind maps or some other simple strategies. Once those 6 hours are done, if you want your answers to be evaluated, meet me after the class. We will evaluate it and we'll make sure by the end of this crash course, 120 plus does not seem like a Mount Everest ka target. It seems as if you're climbing the mountains which is there in the outskirts of Bangalore, maybe Nandi Hills. All of you have gone to Nandi Hills, right? Good enough. You got my point? If there is any fear that you have about ethics, fear is good. Fear motivates you, fear inspires you. But don't let that fear make you sit in some corner of the house and worry that ethics is going to be difficult, and just like prelims of 2023, ethics paper mein they will do some sort of big experiment. Nothing of that sort. Alright, moving on. I have just computed what I think are the most important aspects when it comes to ethics, at least particularly in this crash course. Have a clear and concise idea about all ethical terms. All of you have gone through UPSC ethics syllabus. Yes or no? Anyone who has not gone through it? Raise your hand, it's okay. All of you have gone through it. What is the first one? Ethics and interface. Hey, interface ke pehle ek aur hai. Did you clear, my friend? You also did not clear. Ethics and human interface. Now there is a specific reason why they are using human interface. You all agree with me? They are not just using interface, human interface. What is the reason? What is the logic behind them using it? Now when you take 2013, questions from 2013 till 2022, our mindset has been prepared in such a way that we will prepare for compassion, we will prepare for sympathy, empathy and all those stuff. But if I ask you, what is your moral obligation? what will your answer be? What is your moral obligation? You know what is a moral obligation? Anyone? Sorry? Morally binding, okay. Imagine in your ethics paper they have asked, what do you understand by the term moral obligation? You will not just write morally binding. You have to give a very coherent introduction, yes or no? So what exactly is this? Imagine they give you a question, what is your moral obligation as a common citizen of this country? What is your moral obligation as a public servant in India? There's a long list. Now, where have I taken this moral obligation from? Just a second. In one of these questions, guys, right, they have clearly mentioned the term obligations. Okay? So that is what? What I want you to do is, we will be doing it, okay? From 2013 till 2022, those questions, apart from overend syllabus, whatever terms are there in the syllabus copy, I want you to focus on these questions. There will be certain key terms and we need to have a clear and precise idea about these definitions. I want to show you something. Now imagine you are asked to write about transparency. Alright? Is transparency included in your UPSC ethics syllabus? Is it there or is it not there? It's there. Look at the definition that you have in front of you. The World Bank defines transparency as the availability of information to the public regarding the decision-making processes, rules, regulations and activities of government and public institutions. Is this a good definition of transparency? Yes or no? It's not good. At least not in your ethics paper. If you're using this definition in your GS2 paper, it's absolutely fantastic. What I see when I ask my students to write ethics exams or ethics tests and I give them such key terms, important key terms, they write keeping in mind GS1, GS2, GS3. Imagine you are writing about communalism in your ethics paper. Communalism is nothing but when you have negative emotions such as hatred, jealousy, revenge, which is very high. If I am writing about communalism in ethics paper, one other way of writing it is, communalism is when you have an inability to forgive another person for the mistakes that might have happened in the past. Is this not ethics answer? But if you write communalism is having too much of respect for one's own religion compared to other, it's a society definition. This is where you have to be very intelligent in the first instance itself. In my classes, whenever I take an ethical topic, I'll be giving you 3 definitions. Once you go back home, if you want, right, you can add one more. Now what are these 3 definitions that I will be taking it from? Where will I be taking it from? I have made it a point not to take it from your standard sources. What are your standard sources? D.K. Balaji, Subha Rao, and more importantly, lexicon. I don't like lexicon at all. It is way too simple. And UPSC has increased its depth in ethics in recent times and lexicon does not meet that. So whatever definitions I have given you, they have been taken from certain books, ethical books written by famous people. Look at here, on the same concept of transparency. What have I written? Ethical transparency involves providing access to information, being forthcoming and honest about intentions and motives and actions, and being accountable for the impact of one's decision. Here you have some terms in your ethics syllabus being reflected. Honest about intentions. Look at the second one. In ethics, transparency means acting with clarity and openness, ensuring that motives of conflict of interest and relevant information are disclosed, allowing others to make informed judgments about the integrity and trustworthiness. What are the two most important terms over there? Integrity and trustworthiness. So you have to develop this capability of answering these ethical terms from a GS4 perspective and not like your GS2. When I go through, I've already told you about this. Sometimes when students write the examinations, ethics examinations in mains, they come back and ask me, sir, I have written all questions. I have written section A, I have written section B as well. I am expecting genuinely 130, 140, sir. But they end up getting around 80 to 90. The reason being, they are going for approaches like this which have become obsolete. Don't do that. First one. The second one is diverse examples for each syllabus topic. So in my class, I have already told you I am going to give you notes. The first half of the book, whatever I dictate to you, please write. The last few pages, I will be giving you certain mental exercises. I want you to participate in the class itself. Got my point? Go to the last section of the book. I want you to write 10 names of IAS officers who have stood for honesty. 10 names. Ashok Kemka should not be there. Durga Shakti Nagpal should not be there. Rupa, Sinduri to no more. All these people should not be there. I want 10 unique, diverse names which you have not used in the past, which other people don't use it. Can you do that? Is it possible? 10. Go ahead, madam. Do it. Go to the last pages of the book. Write. If not 10, at least write 5. 5. And you have to tell me what they are famous for. Which ethical aspect they are famous for.
I don't know what famous, but in general, like
whatever ethics that they exhibit. Imagine there is an IAS officer who showcases courage. You say IAS officer showcasing courage. There is one more who is showcasing honesty. You write that officer's name and write honesty, like that. 5 names. Madam, bari heading bar but sumna ka tha. Bari bega. What about you, madam? You are also thinking, is it? Yes, go ahead. All of you have subscribed exclusively for ethics, or someone is here from combo aspect? So you have GS2 as well, I guess. Okay. When is GS2 going to end, madam? Social justice. Oh, you still have IR. Okay. Go ahead, right. I should have said no Kannan Gopinathan and Sunday. You should have understood the spirit in which I was saying. But it's okay. Right. Which state are you from, madam? Which state are you from? Karnataka. It's good. Karnataka yaar siglilva, madam? Right, how many of you have written 5? Madam, 5 or 10?
No, I've written 3.
3? You see the difficulty in it?
Yeah.
So what I am trying to say is, when we look for examples now, in the last few years, these institutions, they have come out with red book, orange book, pink book and every sort of book. Everyone is using the same example. Everyone is saying, modern India history say they will take examples. Gandhi ji, Nehru, Patel, same stock examples ho gaya hai. I don't want you to do that. In our classes, we will be discussing a large list of IAS and IPS officers who you might have not heard. Some of them you might have heard, but you might have forgotten. These officers, they would have exhibited exemplary courage or honesty. So the moment there is a question on courage, some of the names of the officers should flash just in front of your mind. I don't want you to go to the examination hall and then think, for examples, what should I write? I don't want that. Apart from that, one more thing where you can establish your originality. In ethics, over and above what we teach you, I want each and every one of you to bring some of your own originality. This is not like GS1, 2 or 3 where you have a set pattern, you go ahead, you buy out, you vomit and everything. Each and every evaluator in ethics paper is trying to read your mind, not my mind, not Aristotle ka mind, your mind. And God in His infinite wisdom has created you in a unique way. You guys agree with me? Machine goods and Allah Tane. You're all unique. So showcase that unique. When you showcase that unique, that is the difference between 120 and 140. Getting my point? In one of the tests that I had taken some time ago, where I did score a good amount of marks in ethics while others were not able to do so, that year I had made it a point that I will be taking examples from all walks of life, all walks. When I was growing up, we never had this social media or anything like that. I'm not that old, but still, 1991. So my experience with fun was with this comics, cartoons and everything. Do you know who this person is? Any idea who this person is? Guess. Where is he from? Where is that guy from? Can you guess that? Go ahead, interact. Why are you so afraid? Where is he from, sir? R.K. Narayan ka brother hai, R.K. Lakshman. You are so close. Right? R.K. Lakshman. Look at R.K. Lakshman, he was a cartoonist. He created a cartoon character called as Common Man. You see over here, Common Man. Now in times of India, you used to have his cartoons which were published. If you look at this cartoon, here you have R.K. Lakshman making fun of budget 97 and 98, where our very own Deve Gowda ji was Prime Minister. Here you see R.K. Lakshman making fun of a lady with a very long nose. Who do you think it is? Indira Gandhi. Nonsense. How could a frail creature like me destroy it? What is she destroying? Democracy. And over here is making fun of another Prime Minister, Atal Bihari Vajpayee. Now what is that value that R.K. Lakshman stands for? Is it honesty? Absolutely. But more than honesty, he stands for integrity. You're getting my point? R.K. Lakshman throughout his career was honest, showed courage, showed integrity in speaking truth for those in power. So the moment integrity comes into the picture, I don't want you to just think about Ashok Kemka, Gandhiji or anything. I want you to be diverse. Now imagine I give you a question and I again ask you, give me 5 names of those people who have won Padma Awards, who might have won Nobel Prize, who have inspired you in an ethical way. You cannot write Hajjabba. You know who is Hajjabba? Orange vendor in Mangalore. You cannot write Malala Yousafzai, Kaila Satyarthi. You ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಬರೆಯಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬರಿಬೇಕು. ಆಗುತ್ತಾ? Is it possible? Sir, 5 names within 1 minute. If you write 5 names within 1 minute, breakfast is on me. Can you? Anyone? This is where I want you to spend your time. I will be giving you. But you have a long list of Padma Awards. I will be giving you some. Once you go back home, enrich it. On a daily basis, you will have quite a few news articles which you will be reading. You can take examples from that as well. Remember, till now what have I told you? Definitions, proper examples. The next thing, whenever you read a topic, let us say you are reading a topic related to ethics and human interface itself. And in ethics and human interface, you have essence of ethics. I'll talk about essence of ethics a bit later. So if there are 3 codes that I've given you for essence of ethics, you should know to make sure what is the meaning behind it, and you should also know where to use it. I've seen people who start randomly with a quote in the introduction, randomly end their answer with a quote. Don't do that. Where a quote is required, use it. For example, there is this very famous quote of Gandhiji that people abuse a lot. Be the change that you want to see in the world. Now they use this, be the change that you want to see in the world, in the introduction. In my opinion, that is a wasted effort. The reason being, in your conclusion, what are you taught? In your GS1, 2 and 3. Conclusion should be solution oriented, optimistic. Now imagine you are writing a problem. You are answering a problem in your body of the answer. In conclusion, how better to find solution? First you change yourself and the rest will follow. So this is what I mean. Randomly, don't refer the sources which are available to you. There are sources which say 100 plus codes for UPSC ethics exams. Pay 100 rupees. That 100 rupees has a value. And you cannot remember 100 codes for everything. That's all. So be very selective. That's one thing. The next thing, try to go over and above the normal list of philosophers. So what are the famous philosophies that you have learned in your due course of UPSC preparation? In your due course. Can I say virtue ethics? Yes or no? Virtue ethics was by who? Aristotle. Then you have utilitarianism by Bentham and Mill at a later point in time. Then you have what we call as deontological ethics. Here you have a person called as Immanuel Kant. 3 philosophies that people use most of the times. Most of the times. Now when you are using the same philosophy, it's good you are trying to analyze whatever is happening from the prism of these 3 philosophies. You guys agree with me? Madam, you agree with me? Yes. But you have to go over and above this. How to do? In our Supreme Court at this point in time, listen to me carefully. In our Supreme Court at this point in time, there are various constitutional cases. One case relates to same-sex marriage. All of you are acquainted with this. Now imagine I give you a question in your ethics paper. the choices in the private sphere, even though personal, cannot be given a free hand or flexibility, keeping in mind the societal ethics. Analyze. The question, how does it sound? Simple or complicated? You got my question? Do you want to write it? Please write it. Back of the book. Back of the book, please write it. I'm not going to make you write an answer, but I want you to have an opinion. Yes. Kenaitu, Vikas. We have to stop the class. Please write. Even though choices in private sphere are important and constitutionally protected, comma, one cannot consider them absolute, keeping in mind the collective mindset of what society thinks, as good, Full stop. Analyze. Mark my words, in one or the other way, this question will be there in this ethics paper. I am very sure of it. Now, I don't want you to write a 150-word answer. All I want is, keep in mind that same-sex marriage, if you say, yes sir, it should be allowed, you quote a philosophy to justify it. If you say, no sir, it should not be allowed, quote a philosophy to justify it. You got my point? And you cannot use virtue, you cannot use utilitarianism, you cannot use Immanuel Kant, you cannot use Buddhism, you cannot use Jainism. Now go ahead. Go ahead. Philosophy, same-sex marriage. Vikas, Aita, what happened? I recorded the upload ಮಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಅಪ್ಲೋಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ ಓಕೆ ಹಂಗೆ ಮಾಡಿ I don't want to break. All of you have been reading Hindu newspaper articles, yes or no? So many articles are coming on this issue, right? Cost benefit analysis, odira editorial illi vomit it back. Go ahead. Madam, what have you written? What do you think? Yes or no? Philosophy bit padi. Nimde hedi. Should we allow same-sex marriage? Yes. Okay. So, yes. What do you think, sir? The man who is wearing some precious stone for luck, does that bring luck? No. Why are you wearing it? We'll talk about this luck, something called as moral luck, a little later on. I understand the pain that you're going through, don't worry. Yes, what do you think, sir? Should we allow same-sex marriage? To some extent. Hey, what is that some extent, right? Okay, good. You have to explain it. You're getting my point? How it is difficult. Come back, listen to me. So when you're reading your world history, you would have come across a particular part of your world history which is called as enlightenment. Yes or no? Remember your school days or even your UPSC preparation? Enlightenment. During that time, there was a guy called as Voltaire. You might have heard of him. Now, Voltaire has written about something called as liberty. UPSC loves liberty. There was a prelims question on that as well this year. Madam, correct madidra. What is liberty? You remember what was the answer? So still we are divided, sir. We don't know whether it is option A or option C. In Lakshmikant, what they have given, liberty is absence of constraints. So in his book, Voltaire has written, everyone should be given freedom. Freedom even in your private sphere, and government should not interfere. And in this private sphere, one should be given freedom even for a controversial topic such as sexual choices. So when you are writing an answer for such questions, you will be quoting Voltaire on one hand, and on the other hand, other philosophies. You are getting my point? So you have to go over and above certain normal list of philosophers. If you don't do that, you will end up near 100, 105, but that 130, 140 will still be a bit behind. Now imagine in your UPSC syllabus there is a topic called as role of family, society and educational institutions. Now they have given a question about family. Okay? Family. Now the concept of family, where do you think it is more important? Do you think it is important in Western philosophy or Eastern philosophy? Eastern philosophies, right? East Asia. Now the moment I say East philosophy or Eastern philosophies, I don't want you to think about philosophies from India. I want you to think about philosophies from other parts of East Asia. What are the other philosophies that you know? Any idea? Heli sir. China dinda Taoism, Japanallu Taoism follow ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. Then you might have heard something called as Confucianism. Yes or no? You take any Eastern philosophies, they have placed a very high value, moral value to family. So when you are writing an answer, please don't always write Buddhism and Jainism. Confucianism says that a person is inherently born with natural goodness. None of you are born criminals. UPSC has made us criminals. That's a different thing. Everyone is born with a natural goodness, and it is one of the duties of family to nourish, nurture and preserve that natural goodness. This is how. Can you not write this in your introduction? If there is any question on family, just write this. Your answers will stand out. Your answers makes that impression on the mind of evaluator. What is this philosophy? Confucianism. And the last one, please note this is not your GS1, GS2 or GS3, right? Imagine they have given you an economic question. Okay, let me explain it through an example. Niti Ayog. You all know what is Niti Ayog? All of you know that? Yes? What is a Niti Ayog, my friend? It is? What is its objective? Don't worry, I am not Manjunath sir. I want you to tell me what is its mandate, that's all. That's all I care. What is the mandate of Niti Ayog? Cooperative federalism, very good. So that cooperation comes. Manjunath sir will be very happy. My question, imagine they have given you a question like this. The establishment of Niti Ayog has brought about a drastic change or a reasonable change in how planning is done in India in a more ethical way. Something like this. What will you do? Will you write an answer for it? How will you write an answer for it? Because all of you have prepared for Niti Ayog in GS2 class, right? You have content for it. Sir has given you examples as well. But what we are seeing in UPSC is cross questioning have been asked. जो environment का topic है geography में डाल रहे हैं, क्या पिया है पता नहीं. They're doing this. This is where you have to be very smart. Whenever you read GS1, GS2 or GS3, at the back of your mind, some ethical mindset should be there. When I look at Niti Ayog, now prior to Niti Ayog, what did we have? Planning Commission. In Planning Commission, can I say it was top to bottom approach? Now here you have bottom to up approach. Listen to this carefully or read this carefully. Top down leadership is outdated and counterproductive. By focusing too much on control and end goals and not enough on their people, leaders are making it more difficult to achieve their own desired outcomes. The key then is to help people feel purposeful, motivated and energized so they can bring their best selves to work. Does it look like a GS2 answer, the first part? Not so much. Look at the second part. One of the best ways is to adopt the humble mindset of a servant leader. Servant leaders view their key role as serving employees as they explore and grow, providing tangible and what else? Emotional support as they do so. They actively seek the ideas and multiple contributions of the employees that they serve. This is how servant leaders create a culture of learning and an atmosphere that encourages followers to become the very best they can. So your Niti Ayog, does it fit in the first part or the second part? Where does Niti Ayog fit in? First or second? Second. Look at here. Humble. Humility or humbleness. Is it your GS2 topic or GS4? GS4. This is what I want. In your GS2, you have learned something called as good governance. Madam, governance aita? Yes, what is good governance, madam? Don't let your eyes go back to the notes that sir has given. When you're doing this, you're going back to the notes, trying to visualize it. Yes or no? Please don't do that. Your mind should instinctively tell me what you have understood the moment I say good governance. What is good governance? Good. And it should ensure effectiveness and efficiency. Bas ho gaya, khatam. Again for you, madam. Ye good governance or ethical governance ne, what is the difference? Sir, kashtapat good governance culture ne. What is this? Bel-bel-gari ethical governance. What is the moral values are they? But you have to elaborate a bit. Which one is more important? Good governance or ethical governance? Both are important. Which one is higher? Ethical governance, right? Ethical governance has a component which includes good governance. And as you said, ethical governance is inlaid with ethics and morality. Good governance has to do more with how you use technology to make a system more effective and efficient. Ethical governance, on the other hand, is more morality and ethical based. You should analyze what are the few steps that the government has taken which fits good governance and which fits ethical governance. What are the examples sir has given you for good governance? Grievance redressal portal and so many other things. Ethical governance ka example kya hai? All of you have come across it. Just one. Sabka saath, sabka vikas, sabka vishwas. Nothing but ethical governance only. You guys agree with me? Atmanirbhar Bharat. Nothing but ethical governance. So when I am teaching you, my point is not to take examples from big ethicist books and dump it on you. My intention is to give you those examples which you have come across, which you can relate with, so that over and above what I teach you, your mind can think of few more. You getting my point? Diverse examples, definitions, and why your answer should not be, your ethics answer should not be like your GS1, 2 or 3. Moving on. Do you know where this write-up is from? Any idea? This write-up? Can you guess? It's not from your ARC document, don't worry. This is from Harvard Business Review. Okay? Harvard is one institution among many which focuses on ethics to a larger extent. Some of the definitions that we have taken are from their resources. How beautifully they have explained, top down and bottom up, and how they have put the ethics angle at the center. This is what they're expecting. And listen to me carefully. You might have a doubt. So should we write in paragraph or should we write in points in ethics? GS2 mein, how will you write? Points, is it? In ethics, you can write in paragraph. I don't have an issue. But if you write in paragraph, it has to be like this. And some example should be there. But more preferable approach is going to be your points. Because when you present it in points, the evaluator will get a brief idea about your structure and everything, and that appeals at the end of the day more than paragraph. I'm not going to do ethics syllabus, right? I'm just going to talk about this as of now, but I hope all of you have gone through this. Yes or no? Pakka? Mother promise? Yes. Let's look at the first part then. Ethics and human interface. Here you have essence, then you have determinants, and you have consequences of ethics in human actions, dimensions of ethics, and ethics in private and public relationship. Okay? Now one question that you have to ask yourself, is it why are these topics included in your syllabus? What must be their logic? Why do they want you to learn about ethics in private and public relationship? Why do they want you to learn that? You must ask yourself that question. Now, there must be some reason. Until and unless you understand the reason, you cannot completely appreciate what you are studying. You guys agree with me? What must have been the reason for ethics in private and public relationship? Sorry, sir? Conflict of interest, yes, good. 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 Right, very good. All your answers are correct. But what you need to do when you present your answers over and above this, there has to be simplicity. Now a person will not be happy if there is imbalance in his private and public life. You agree with me? Right? Our happiness is directly reflected there. You start with that. Okay? But whatever answers you have told is absolutely correct. Come back. When you look at this, they have written consequences of ethics in human action. What exactly is a human action? Don't tell me a human does it, sir, that's why it's a human action. What constitutes a human action? Imagine I'm putting a gun to your head and telling you to stab another person, and you stab that person. Who is good? Since you have stabbed that person, are you bad? That is also a human action. You guys agree with me? But will I consider that as a human action? Will I or will I not? I'm keeping a gun to your head and blackmailing you. If you don't stab the other person, I'm going to shoot you. What will you do? I'm very sure I know what you will do. Kannu muchkon stab martira. A human action which has been performed through free will. Okay? That action is where you need to judge. If a person is stealing bread to feed his family, he is not doing that out of complete free will. He is being pressurized by circumstances. You agree with me? So they will give you case studies. You are the sole breadwinner of your family, and your boss is blackmailing you. If you do not fudge the reports, he is going to dismiss you. And by mistake you have fudged the reports. You know it is morally wrong, but you have fudged because of the fear of losing the job. After a few months, another boss comes and he finds out that you have made this mistake. The boss comes and asks you, and you tell him the honest reason, sir, you look at my career, there is no black spot apart from this. I am very sorry, sir, I was pressurized. And they will ask you, as a boss, what are the options available to you? Evaluate their pros and cons and like that, long list. And when you pick a course of action, you should be a bit gentle with him. You have to punish him, but not punish him in absolute 100% terms, because the decision that he took, the action that he took did not have that free will. Okay? So few more things like that we will be discussing. Okay. Let's look at some of the questions that I've asked from this topic, ethics and human interface. Look at this one. What do you understand by values and ethics? In what way is it important to be ethical along with being professionally competent? The second thing, differentiate between the following: law and ethics, ethical management and management of ethics, discrimination and preferential treatment, personal ethics and professional ethics. When they ask you questions from this topic now, right? One of the ways that they can ask will be definitions of terms. Clarity between two terms which appear similar. That's it. That's one theme. The other theme, look at this carefully. Human beings should always be treated as ends in themselves and never as merely means. Explain the meaning and significance of this statement, giving its implication in the modern techno-economic society. The second one, with regards to the morality of actions, one view is that means is of paramount importance and the other view is that ends justify the means. Which view do you think is more appropriate? Justify your answer. Is there any difference between the first and the second? The core part of first and second question, you see similarity or dissimilarity? Similarity. Only thing is, in the first question they have made it applicable to modern techno-economic society. Look at the last one. It is believed that adherence to ethics in human actions would ensure in smooth functioning of an organization or system. If so, what does ethics seek to promote in human life? How do ethical values assist in the resolution of conflicts faced by him in his day-to-day functioning? What you see here, end versus means, is it not a conflict that we face at times? Yes or no? If they ask you a question from this topic, one theme would be definition, the other theme would be end versus means debate. You got my point? And the third one, law and ethics are considered to be two tools for controlling human conduct so as to make it conducive to civilized social existence. Discuss how they achieve this objective, give examples, that is one thing. Which without commonly shared and widely entrenched moral values and obligations. See, here it comes. Moral obligations. Neither the law nor democratic government nor even the market economy will function properly. What do you understand by this statement? Explain with illustration in contemporary times. From this topic, another way they are going to ask question is law and ethics. And to what extent ethics is important for controlling human conduct. You got my point? Definition, end versus means debate, as well as law and ethics and importance of ethics in controlling human conduct. Come back. Look at this one. Dimension of ethics. You remember? In ethics and human interface you have that. The final way that they are going to ask question is from applied ethics. In applied ethics, this is one of the questions that they have asked. What is meant by environmental ethics? Why is it important to study? Discuss any one environmental issue from the viewpoint of environmental ethics. This question, is it easy or difficult when you look at it? What is environmental ethics? What is it? Sir, when we are dealing with environment, we have to be ethical. That's it. Will you write that? Couple of days ago, I read a answer where the question was, what is ethical governance? So that lady had written, governance through ethical ways is ethical governance. And she was expecting me to give her 6 out of 10. How is that possible? Now when you look at this, what is environmental ethics? How would you define it from an ethics perspective? Any idea? Make a guess, please. Interact. There is no right answer in ethics. That's the good thing about it. You want to find the more right answer, not the exact right answer. It's not always possible. What is environmental ethics? What do you think it is? Madam, you are from Kannada literature, I guess. Hello, madam. Any poems related to environment that you have studied? What's your name? I forgot. Amruta. You're Kannada literature student, right? Right. Go ahead. Kannadadalli yadu nature ಬಗ್ಗೆ poems ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಇತ್ತು. Sir, what are you asking, sir? We have never learned that poem from that perspective. But imagine, tomorrow they are going to give you a question where they will ask you, what are the ethical values that should decide the usage of big data? You all know what is big data. What are the ethical aspects we need to keep in mind while implementing big data, bioethics, artificial intelligence, emerging technologies. Now you open any book, Subbarao, Lexicon, Karthikeyan, red, pink, open market. You won't find anything. How you are going to generate answers for this? You have learnt environment. You have learnt science and tech and everything. You have a basic working knowledge. Now, how you use ethical arguments to put it across, that is what is important. Look at the next slide. Did you get the next slide? Yes. You have this term called as ecocentrism. Has anyone come across this word? I don't want you to define this term. Have you come across this term? Ecocentrism? Not even one person. How long have you been preparing for UPSC? Sir, how long have you been preparing? ಎಷ್ಟು ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ UPSC field ಅಲ್ಲಿ? ಹೆದರ್ಕೋಬೇಡಿ. I am here since a long time. Sorry? ಕನ್ನಡ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ವಾ? Where are you from? Maharashtra. How well you have learned Kannada ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. Very nice. My question is, how long have you been in UPSC field? 3 years. How long have you been in Bangalore? 2 years. Kannada gottilla, only thing. I am going to go to my bed crying today after hearing that. Sorry? You are learning. Good enough. Get a Kannada girlfriend. She will teach you. Come back. Listen to this. Ecocentrism. Have you come across it?
I have come across it, but
Recall the exact meaning. Right. This is what we want. I will be discussing 10 most probable fields where they might ask questions from applied ethics, because since 2013 there is only 1 year where they have asked about applied ethics in section A. So I am very sure this year there might be a higher chance or probability that it might happen. So when you look at ecocentrism, here you will define ecocentrism as from a value perspective. Now all of you want to be IAS officers, yes or no? Some IPS, sir, Maharashtra se, Singham, IAS or IPS? I could make out. What's your name? Omkar, good. Now come back to this. When we look at your IAS, is this an end in itself or is it an instrument to another end? What is the end goal of all our lives? Happiness. Now you perceive that happiness you will get through your jobs, IAS or IPS. Now this is what we call in ethics as instrumental value. Right? you have terminal values which is an end in itself, and then you have instrumental values which you are using to reach your terminal. You got my point? Now what is happening with environment now? Are we treating environment as a terminal value having its own inherent value and quality, or are we treating environment as a instrumental value? What are we doing, madam? Madam in the black color shirt. Instrumental value. What's your name? Are you from Insights or some other place? Insights, is it? Which year? Just joined. Just joined our ethics intensive bridge course. My God, good. When we are using something as an instrumental value, there is a probability that we might use it wrong. Echocentrism is an ethical argument which places environment as an end in itself. That is what you have to write. The other thing, you have stewardship, responsibility, sustainability, you all know. When you are writing sustainability, what are the terms that you will use in sustainability? You have to ensure intergenerational justice, right? Justice aana chahiye udhar. Then you have respect for nature. Can you think of any person who had respect for nature that you have come across? Don't say Salu Marada Timmakka, please. Don't say Mahatma Gandhi ji. Any other person, respect for nature. Sorry sir, yaru madam? Salim Ali, very good, an ornithologist, very good. Look at this, come back, listen to this. When a person is motivated by compassion, can I say that person might contribute to the legal things as well? Can I say that? Salim Ali was compassionate towards birds. He was an ornithologist, and Salim Ali played a very crucial role in drafting of Wildlife Protection Act as well. Right? So when you are ethical, can I say laws can also be ethical? When you are unethical, what will happen to laws? Aadhaar is a money bill now, right? Like that. Come back. Intergenerational equity, I have told you, and environmental justice. So next time when they ask you what are the ethical values that we should keep in mind when we talk about big data, you should be able to come out with a parameter just like this. And we are going to do this for 10 applied ethics ka scenario. So what are the themes that they are going to ask? One is definition. The next one is? Sorry? Okay. Third one is? Law and ethics and relevance of ethics in human action. And finally you have applied ethics. So we'll start our session today. Okay. The fifth one is basically related to codes. I'll come back to codes a bit later. First, let us start with the basics. What is ethics? Barkovedi, I will dictate. Don't worry. Go back to the last sections of the book. You please write what you understand by ethics. What you understand by ethics, I want you to write. Yak sir ashtond nagtidira? What you understand. You should not say the definition of some person. Nimge ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಬರಿಬೇಕು. You understand Kannada, right? You are also. Where are you from? Tamil Nadu. Karnataka's best friend. So how many of you are not from Karnataka? Raise your hands. Right? Okay. So I have to be careful when I use Kannada then. Okay. Online students, is every issue sorted out as of now? And you have to write more than one, at least 2 definitions you have to write for ethics. Are you all done? Madam, what have you written? Yes. What is ethics? Yes, you madam. What's your name? Ishita. Yes. It reminds me of someone. What is ethics?
Moral principles that govern the action.
What is right and what is wrong? How many of you have written same definition in a way? Raise your hands. Kahan par hai originality there? You're getting my point? This is a good one. But this has become more and more common. So you can't go ahead with that. If you look at my first definition, same thing. What you have written, I have just written that ethics is a system of moral principles that guides your behavior in terms of what is right or wrong. I don't want to use this anymore. Please retire this definition forever. But look at other definitions. Don't write it down. Just listen to me. Then I'll dictate it. Look at this one. This is by a very famous ethicist. His name is Richard William Paul. Now he has defined ethics as a set of concepts and principles that guide us in determining what behavior helps or harms sentient creatures. Now what you have written, has it taken into consideration all sentient creatures? Has it explicitly mentioned it? No. So compared to what you have written, this is one level above that. Same thing, system of moral principles which keeps in mind all sentient creatures. That's it. This is by Richard William Paul. The next one is, anyone who knows who this lady is? PSIR students. Kannada literature kelakagalla. PSIR. This lady is called as Ayn Rand. She was a very famous philosopher from your United States of America. Look at this definition that she has given. Ethics is a code of values. So till now you have said that ethics is a set of moral principles. Now you are saying ethics is a code of values or a set of values to guide man's choices and actions. This is where it becomes very interesting for me. Now when you have no choice, does ethics come into the picture? No, because you are forced to take it. When I was in engineering, elective subject anta ittu on the paper, but our HODs gave us no choice. You study image processing, I don't care. Right? Ayn Rand says ethics is a code of values which helps us to guide in terms of our choices and actions. Look at the second part, even that is interesting. The choices and action that determine the purpose and the course of his life. This is important. Now values can be good. Honesty is a value. Dishonesty is also a value. One is good, the other one is bad. Which one is bad? Dishonesty, no? Okay. Now I'll take up values in detail. But as of now, just know this. Value is nothing but your primary belief. What you give preference to. Now, IPL ended not so long ago. Again, RCB lost and CSK won. Hey, what is your secret, right? MS Dhoni. No, you don't watch cricket. Did you clear prelims? Right, you sacrificed and there was no output. Let us sign an online petition for UPSC. Right? Move your exam date away from IPL timetable. Come back. Listen. So our cricketers, what do they value more? So, do they value IPL or do they value ICC trophies? What do you think? Money. And where is money? IPL mein na. So directly you can say, sir, IPL. Values are our primary beliefs or our preferences. It is on this belief and preferences that ethics is created. Now you are sitting here. What is that value that you should have? Discipline. Now if you are disciplined, your mobile will not ring. But you have sat in classes so many times, even prior to this. there will be one or the other person whose mobile will ring. Is that good ethics or bad ethics? Is that good ethics or bad? Bad. Now you have a value of non-violence. You are understanding me? You have a value of non-violence. How is that reflected in ethics? You might be a country such as Switzerland, which is pacifist, which does not support arm or war like that. You are getting my point? It is like this. Values are primary beliefs, and on these primary beliefs, a set of these values, a set of these beliefs, a set of these preferences, they determine what we consider as ethics. You are understanding my point? Pakka? Look at this one. The last line, that determine the purpose. Now this is important for me. ये life में purpose क्या होता है? What is the purpose in life? What is the purpose in your life? What is the purpose of this program? Getting you 120 plus in GS4 ethics paper. We have put it out in bold letters. Right? What is the purpose in your life? Forget this class. What is the purpose in your life? Sir, what is this question? Sir, Nityananda level question you are asking. But still, imagine, when I was writing UPSC exams, the questions that they were asking was as simple as this. But it was a bit complicated to answer. They were asking, what are the 5 ethical traits that you need to see in an officer? Arrange these 5 ethical traits in a priority order. Now tomorrow, imagine they give you a question, what do you understand by the term moral purpose and purpose? Nowhere in your textbooks you will find definitions for it. It's how you understand life, how you understand the basics. If you do that, your answers will be good. All of you are what, 21 plus? You must be having some purpose. What is that purpose in life? Tell me. Have you watched 3 Idiots movie? All of you. Anyone who has not watched it? Sir, what is it, sir? Everyone? Pakka? So in 3 Idiots, what is the famous dialogue? 10th में अच्छा marks लाओ, 12th में engineering join करो, placement करो, credit card, शादी, house and everything. For some people, this is purpose. Yes or no? Roti, kapda, makan. Purpose. But is this purpose what she is talking about here? Is this the purpose that what she is talking about? No. If you are having that roti, kapda, makan as your purpose, there is no difference between you and an animal. You are basically saying, your purpose should be higher. That higher purpose is what we call as moral purpose. In a moral purpose, you are trying to choose from multiple choices, from multiple actions to help others, to serve others, to live for others. That's a moral purpose. You got my point? What's the moral purpose behind our constitution? What's the moral purpose? If I ask you this question, you should be able to answer. What's the moral purpose? Look at the preamble. Equality, liberty, fraternity, justice. And justice is not just one. There are 3 dimensions to it. The reason, imagine they ask you a question. You have prepared for this question in your GS2 class. I know very well. The question is, what are the reasons why Indian constitution has survived for such a long time? A question like this you have prepared? Yes or no? Imagine I give this question in ethics. What will you write? Because it has a moral purpose behind it, sir. Very good. Apart from that, what else? Indian constitution is not just a living legal document, but it is an ethical document that has ensured its perpetuation since its enactment. Ethical document. One of the main reasons for that is it has moral purpose. you have learned that Indian constitution is a blend of rigidity and flexibility. You will provide this, but in an ethical argument in your answer, there is moral choice provided. There is freedom, there is liberty. You have learned something called as doctrine of separation of powers. You will say Indian constitution has come out with a proper arrangement for dividing power. You will put that power within inverted commas. Accountability, right? You have the same accountability which you have studied. Executive, legislature, they can be held accountable by judiciary. You all know that. It's an ethical document. And if you remember, I spoke about ethical transparency, openness, honesty and everything. The reason why our constitution is an ethical document is the legislature can openly ask for information from executive through question hour. This is how you need to prepare. Compared to the last two definitions, the one that you have written compared to what Richard said and this one, which one is better? This one, right? Go for that definition which has many flavors, many ethical terms. One more. Ethics is a branch of philosophy that is concerned with human conduct. This you have come across. That's all. Now listen to me. Over and above what we have just done, if I were to come out with my own definition, I will say that ethics is a set of codes which is generally accepted by society as right. Semicolon. It determines how we think, it guides our behavior, and more importantly, it gives us a framework to judge others. Can I say that? Now if you consider India and America, in America they have different set of values. Yes or no? Over there they eat beef. Now if you eat beef here, what will happen? VHP will happen. Vishwa Hindu Parishad will happen. Now in America, they have something called as gun rights. I don't want to have wallet after UPI came and these people have gun for each pocket. Do we have similar value in our country? No, there is difference. But why gun rights is considered as a accepted ethical practice in America? Because a group of people have generally accepted that it is right. Now in America there is something called as individualism. Now the moment you turn working, if you become, if you get a job at 15 or 16, you move out from your home. And we are those people who still live with our parents at 60, 70 also. Right? Now they will look at this and they will say, this is very bad because parents are not getting their privacy. In Indian society there is nothing called as privacy, that's a different issue. Right? Here what we have is called as collectivism. Got my point? So ethics is those set of values which has been generally accepted as right by society. It determines how we think, how we act, and how we judge others. You guys agree with me? So how many definitions did we do? I think 4 or 5 we did. Right? Write down. Now I'll dictate. Go to the front of your book. Write down. Ethics and Human Interface, Class 1. Ethics. GS1 crash course is done for you, is it? Not crash course, intensive course, sorry. It's not done. Okay. Ethics and Human Interface. Start with definition of ethics. Give the heading definition of ethics. Definition of ethics. Now just for the sake of giving, I am giving you this, but what have I told you? Retire this. Ethics is a system. Ethics is a system of moral principles that determine how people make decisions, and lead their lives. How people make decisions and lead their lives. Next definition. According to Richard William Paul, a famous ethicist, hyphen, ethics is a set of concepts. Ethics is a set of concepts and principles that guide us in determining what behavior helps or harms sentient creatures. Next, as per Ayn Rand, Ayn Rand, Ayn Rand, ethics is a code of values. Ethics is a code of values to guide one's choices and actions, hyphen, the choices and actions that determine the purpose and course of one's life Full stop. Write down a note just under that. Note. Moral purpose is a higher level concept compared to the survival needs of food, shelter and clothing. Full stop. Moral purpose includes living a life which creates good for others as well, Full stop. Continue. Some actions taken under moral purpose meet some of humans' need, such as hyphen, to be loved, to be respected, to be loved, to be respected, etc. Don't you think this is true? Every other human being requires those things, right? It's not just clothing, shelter and all those stuff. Moral purpose is a higher level concept. Go ahead and write the next one. Ethics is a branch of philosophy. Ethics is a branch of philosophy that is concerned with human conduct. Write down one brief note under this note. Philosophy means to wonder about the nature of the world in which we live, and a perpetual effort to discover truths. Come back, listen just for a second. You must have known this. When you take philosophy, the moment you start wondering, you become a philosopher. Now, going by all this proper philosophy classification and everything, philosophy can be divided into 6 more types. Meta philosophy, you have what we call as aesthetics. Aesthetics are a bunch of philosophy concerning art and culture. One of the branches of philosophy is ethics. Okay, that much I want you to know. And when you have studied ethics for the very first time, you have studied that ethics is a Greek word, right? Originating from ethos. Morality is a Latin term. All those stuff I won't do it. Okay. If you want, I'll tell you, ethics is a Greek word, ethos, which means custom, character or a habit. I don't want that. It's obsolete now. Okay. I'm going to add that aspect which I believe will give you value to your papers. Okay. Come back. The last one. Please write. Ethics is a set of values. Ethics is a set of values that is generally accepted. As right. By the society. Semicolon. These quotes determine how we think and act, and more importantly, how we judge others, Okay, right, full stop, come back. Look at the board now, just for a few minutes. You must have heard of a guy called as Aristotle. Remember? Now, what has Aristotle done? Anyone? Apart from this philosophy, has he done anything else? Any PSIR students here? There must be some. No one. Edrike ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಸರ್ ಕೈ ಹತ್ತಲ್ಲ. Aristotle has contributed to almost everything, okay? But his major contribution is in the domain of philosophy, and that too ethics. He has written a book called as Nicomachean Ethics. Now in this Nicomachean Ethics, he has tried to define what is ethics. His definition, I'll tell you why it is important. Look at this. He has defined ethics as the study of good life or the study of human flourishing. What is the key term here? Good life. Next, he says ethics then is the study of how best to live. And the goal of inquiry in this area is to discover the principles that lead to a happy and a fulfilling life. A simple definition, yes or no? You guys agree with me? What is good life? Getting first rank in UPSC exam, is it? What is good life? Based on his famous definition, if you go back to your PYQs, they have asked, in recent times, the notion of good life is changing. It has become too narrow. I'm not using the exact words, but the spirit remains the same. Write down this definition, and then we'll talk about what is good life that you need to write in your exams. Write down. As per Nicomachean Ethics, as per Nicomachean Ethics, Aristotle defines ethics. Aristotle defines ethics as the study of good life. Ethics as the study of good life, or the state of human flourishing, or the state of human flourishing, full stop. He further states ethics is the study of how best to live, and the goal of inquiry here is to discover the principles that lead to a happy and a fulfilling life. All right. Now give the heading good life. Good life. Good life. Full stop. Go to the back of your book. You take 2 minutes of your time. 2 minutes of your time and put down what you think constitutes good life. You got my point? Good life is not your teacher overlooking you, is it? Still. Good. Right. Are you done? You have good clarity. Good. What about others? Are you all done? Right, madam. You have started with well-being. What have you written in that well-being? Tell me. Well-being, when you are writing well-being, it should be both physical as well as mental health. Because where we are suffering in the present scenario is not physical but rather mental. Madam, what have you written? Well-being. Sorry, what is good life as per you?
Living up to the potential, like betterment every time possible.
Right. Growth. Good. Madam?
Qualitative life
Qualitative life, then
than quantitative.
quantitative life. Okay. But इधर ethics किधर से आया?
Like in terms of values and
Good. Right. That I want.
issues of a good human.
Yes.
Content life that also adds value to the life.
Very good. Right. Madam who came last. Yes. What is good life? You have not written anything. Hey, ऐसा कैसे? You must have some idea, right? Good life. What it means to you? You can say that. You can say that, sir, good life means me having a job and everything. There's nothing wrong with that. What do you think a good life is? Madam, what's your name? Sorry? Triveni. Okay. Hey, madam. Do you know Kannada, right? Thank God. Tell me. What is good life as per you? Don't get scared. ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಇದಿದೆ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಮನೆ ದೋಸೆ ತೂತು UPSC ಆಸ್ಪಿರೆಂಟ್ಸ್ದು ಮುದ್ದೆನೂ ತೂತು ಹೇಳಿ ಮೇಡಮ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗುಡ್ ಲೈಫ್ ಆಸ್ ಪರ್ ಯು right so what you are basically saying is good in good life when you are putting it across you should say that my thoughts and actions are in harmony okay got my point the thought is correct there's nothing wrong with it but when you are putting it across in paper it has to be very coherent one line irbeku adakkinda jaasti irbaardu sir what is good life most of the people here are girls except for one here it is opposite good life
Good life is a concept wherein a person leads his life with moral set of values like humanity and with a positive.
very good yes Omkar what have you written what is good life
Being moral in most of the
hey what is most of the instances
sometimes like we may not be moral, like in some
sometimes what are those sometimes there are some exceptions listen to me here when you are writing this okay I have come across this argument with so many people they think that you cannot be honest all the time right that is what you are trying to say there are some exceptions where you have to lie but imagine you are an IAS officer for you will you have that exception no right honesty in my opinion for a public servant should be absolute I'll give you justifications for this when I take up that value but when you say most of the times it does not send a very good picture right so don't get into that trap only avoid that okay anyone else who wants to share what you think is a good life go ahead madam good purposeful life good very good anything else anyone else wants to share sir you are the only male representative in this group leave and let live okay Gandhi ji next anything else see all of this are very good arguments but if we were to discuss a certain set of parameters on what constitutes a good life start from the basic level a good life is when you have a moral purpose you have written about it all of you have written about it good a good life is when you have a moral purpose the second thing a good life when you have well-being it's not just a well-being of physical but also mental a good life listen to me carefully is when you have good values or good virtues Now Aristotle, you must be remembering when you read ethics for the very first time, he came out with a theory called as virtue theory. Good life is when you have those virtues which are good in nature. Now the other thing, when I was discussing moral purpose, I told you, specifically I told you, human beings have this innate needs to feel loved, to feel respected, and we search for these things in relationships. A good life is when you have good, meaningful relationships with others. Our relationship with UPSC is crude, but still with others we have to have a good one. Got my point? A good life is when you see not just a personal growth in terms of career or any such narrow things, but you see personal as well as moral growth. Someone said growth, potential and everything. Madam, I guess it was you. So it is personal, not just personal, but personal as well as moral development. You are all following me? Apart from that, if you ask me, what is a good life? Good life is finding that balance, harmony. You guys agree with me? Now, how many of you have seen this film called as Kung Fu Panda? Anyone who has not seen? Okay, parvagilla. Tagaru nodri. Banri. Have you seen, I mean, if you have not seen Kung Fu Panda, at least you would have seen one circle. Half of the circle will be white, another half of the circle will be black. Have you seen that? This is something which is used in Chinese and Japanese philosophy a lot. This represents a balance. The world will function when there is perfect balance. When there is imbalance, the world will be in a danger. In your life, you should find that balance. Right? When you have that harmony, that balance, you will lead a good life. The other thing, all of us are sitting here. One thing that we often forget is how grateful we are for what we have. What you consider as something normal for most of the other people is a privilege. So, a good life is when you have gratitude. What is gratitude? Being thankful. Thankful for what you have. Thankful for the people who are providing you. So when I say thankful for the people providing you, what will you write? Parents, teachers, all the standard answers. Right? But you have to be thankful for even those who are invisible. That is why you have a slogan called as Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Slogan mein hai, practicality mein nahi hai. Got my point? You have to show gratitude to those people who get up every day early and sweep your streets. That gratitude should be there. You have to show thankfulness for this country who has given you good amount of knowledge, good amount of resources. You might not be happy with it. But trust me, imagine if you were born in Pakistan. Right? They also should have gratitude, all citizens should have, but just saying, relatively speaking. How many parameters did we discuss? Around 10? Yes. This is what I think is good life. Now, why is this good life changing? The notions, whatever we discussed, the notions, were they good or bad? In reality, were they good or bad? They were good. But now what is happening in 2023, the notion of good life is not moral development, but rather materialistic development. Yes or no? Now the question which was asked in your UPSC was, why is this changing? You got my point? The notion when I was growing up, or when you were growing up in your rural areas, or even in a joint family, we were taught how to share. Now we are not even ready to share with our own siblings. Gaya bhad mein wo. Legal disputes and everything over property rights. Yes or no? When we were growing up, we were taught that being selfless is important. Now what are we being taught? Selfishness. If you want to survive in the world, it is not survival of the fittest, but it is survival of the most selfish person. Yes or no? And we tend to believe that it is good. The question which was asked was, why is this notion of good life changing? Explain the reasons behind this parallel understanding of good life. I'll just give you briefly why we have that. Instead of love, we have hatred. Instead of generosity, we have greed. Instead of purpose, moral purpose, we have animalistic things. You got my point? All those opposites that you can think of, put it across. That is why the notion of good life has become too and too narrow in the present times. Just write down what we think as good life. You're all understanding? Yes? Is this what you have witnessed prior, or is this something a bit different? The first few minutes that we have spent. Is it something which is different from what you have experienced before or not? Yes? Good different or bad different? Good different. Hellebeku. There is no free will for you. Write on, please. What is a good life? The term good life can have varying perspectives, based on the views of different persons, full stop. However, based on the lives of great leaders, reformers and administrators, good life can be understood as having the following components. First one, moral purpose. Hyphen, write down. I want you to write 2 lines. Actively seeking a meaningful and purposeful life, which is aligned with good values, and that which ensures collective welfare, full stop. Next, relationships. Nurturing and maintaining meaningful relationships, based on the foundations of honesty, integrity, and more importantly, listen to me, what is the most important thing in a relationship? Any relationship? trust. And more importantly, trust. And more importantly, trust. Write down. Next one. Well-being. Well-being. Apart from physical well-being, one should also ensure mental well-being. One should also ensure mental well-being by having good emotions, which encourage feelings of love, care, compassion, etc., rather than hatred, jealousy, possessiveness, etc. Just hold on a second, there is some technical issue. Write down, next one. Virtue. Write down, virtue. Virtues are character traits. That are based on good values. It is these traits which help us in our pursuit of moral excellence. Next, write down gratitude. Developing a sense of appreciation can create joy, meaningful experiences that can help to have a good life. Next, you write balance. Striving for a balance or harmony in various aspects of life can ensure the overall well-being. Full stop. Next one. Our conduct based on ethical values might also help in reaching our goals, that has a greater role to play, in creating good life, full stop. Next, in terms of paragraph, you write, in recent times, comma, the above notion of good life is becoming narrower by the day, hyphen, from a moral purpose to a materialistic life, comma, from love to hatred, comma, generosity to greed, comma, selflessness to selfishness, etc. Full stop, continue. It is this notion of good life, that is at the core, of unethical activities, such as corruption, comma, tax evasion. You guys agree with me? Tax evasion. Give me one more. Tax evasion. What else? I want you to tell me one more which is unethical, because we have changed the notion of good life. Go ahead. Marital discord. Can I say that? Yes or no? Marital discord. Husband is chopping wife, wife is chopping husband. What is this? Marital discord. Instead of marital discord, if you want, you can also write extramarital affairs. That is also there. ಇದಾದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೇನು ಬರಿಬೋದು? Can I write communalism? हाँ sir, दिमाग में बल्ब चला अब. There is a long list. Okay? Communalism, etc. These notions of good life can entirely derail the growth of the country itself, Full stop. To tackle this, there has to be a systematic effort at all levels. There has to be a systematic effort at all levels, full stop, write down some systematic efforts we have taken. First one under this, National Education Policy 2020, National Education Policy 2020 focuses on what? Moral. I want moral. You are going to say compulsory mother tongue. Right. Moral education. We'll go with that. NEP 2020 focuses on moral education to a greater degree. Okay. To a greater degree. Next one. Write down. Programs such as Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat, programs such as Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat emphasizes on what? Unity, right? Unity, or you will also write brotherhood, right? Both unity and brotherhood, is it encouraging love or hatred? Love. Okay. National Unity Day. Next one. National Unity Day is another example. Fourth one. Man Ki Baat by our Honorable Prime Minister. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. But in your answers, Honorable Prime Minister. Man Ki Baat by our Honorable Prime Minister also involves moral stories that is set to inspire. That is set to inspire others. Last one. How many points done? 4 is it? Last one. I have a rule. Listen to me, those who don't know me. I have a rule. If it is a 10 marker question, minimum 5. If it is 15 markers, minimum 10. Okay. So when you give me answers, if you have written 3, first comment would be 5. Fifth point, write down. Awards such as Bharat Ratna and Padma Awards to celebrate those with high moral excellence. With high moral excellence. Okay? Right. So when you go back home, listen to me. When you go back home, what I have given you, the notes. I believe it is sufficient. 90% of the time it should serve your purpose. 90% of the time. The 10% is that extra value addition that you have to do. So in the 10%, what will you do? Tomorrow the government comes out with a program, or tomorrow some Google will come out with an initiative where parents can teach their kids in an innovative way about moral education. You write it here. That much is all I want, value addition. So I have given you so many definitions of ethics. I could have just gone ahead and said that ethics is a set of moral principles, but that won't serve your purpose. 2 definitions, Ayn Rand, and the other one that I have gave you, generally accepted by society, and Nico-Machian ethics. Those 3 things, please remember. Over and above this, I don't think you have to add anything. But in case, in future, I don't give you a proper definition that you have trust in, go Google, take one very good definition. Examples also similarly. Quotes similarly. More than this, don't do anything. Okay. D.K. Balaji is also bulky. Lexicon also has become bulky these days. Then what is that? Other book, Subbarao, is bulky. In ethics, if you have basic knowledge like this, you have all the tools. The other thing that you need to do is start writing. and which you have all told me that you have not done enough. This is where you need to work. Okay, right, come back. Listen now. Now when we were writing the definitions, we wrote ethics is a set of moral principles as well. You yourself have written. Now when I am teaching you, I use ethics and morality in a similar way. They are synonymous to me. Why is it synonymous to me? Because when you take Nicomachean ethics, or when you take early Greek philosophers and everyone, they were using ethics and morality in an interchangeable manner. It was synonymous. Now all these things changed fast forward when you come to 1960 and 1970. In 1960 and 1970, there was this applied ethics, right? There was this branch of applied ethics that started to come about. I'll tell you what is applied ethics when I take up dimension of ethics. Now what is this applied ethics? Go back to that ethics definition that I've given you. It is a general set of principles accepted by society. Yes or no? So if there is general set that we all are following, that is ethics. But if there is particular set of principles that some group of people are following, then that is applied. I belong to medical profession, I have my own set of ethics, then it is called as medical ethics. You are a lawyer, you will have your own set of ethics, applied ethics. You are a journalist, applied. You are from biotechnology, you have what we call as bioethics. You got my point? Environmental ethics. So all this 1960, 1970, you remember 1972 there was one very major environment summit that happened, you remember? Right, like that. So you got my point. In 1960s and 70s, you have this branch of applied ethics which started to gain prominence. It was only then ethics and morality started to get different names and similarities that are also there, but they also got to have certain uniqueness. Okay, this is a very famous book written by a philosopher called as Jonathan Sachs. Here he has mentioned certain differences. I have just represented it. Ethics, as I told you, these are principles that are individual or it is group. What is it? Ethics. Is it individual preferences or group preferences? Group preferences. Morality on the other hand, these are individual. Okay? Morality is also based on values, ethics is also based on values, but with ethics you have a general agreement with society. The other major difference is ethics is something where it can be profession based. I just told you now, medical ethics, bioethics and all those things. Morality on the other hand is not any profession based, but it can be culture based. You remember I told you about individualism and collectivism. That is nothing but morality. Your food habits, morality. How many of you are vegetarians? Very sorry for you, right? The other people are non-vegetarians, I guess. Everyday non-vegetarian or only on Wednesday and Sunday? Right? That is your morality. Now imagine, listen to me very, very carefully. One of you told me about dilemmas. Okay? Now you have your own personal morality. You are a doctor. Okay? And in front of you there is a patient who has no quality of life, madam. And you are a doctor. Now that patient begs you, Madam Ishita, you please give me an overdose. I don't want to live in this pain. Now your personal morality says that you have to be compassionate even in your death time. But your medical ethics says that you can't actively euthanize a person. This is what we call as a dilemma. What will you do in this, Madam Ishita? You said quality of life. You did not say quality of life, but you said quality. Tell me. You understood the case study? All of you. I'm not going to give you long case studies in the beginning. right? Shashank sir will be taking case studies in detail. In my classes, I will be giving you case studies, but it is going to be short and crisp like this. I will be evolving you some strategies. Shashank sir will discuss in detail. Go to the back of your book. On this case study, tell me what is it that you will do. Will you kill the person, madam? You won't kill. You won't kill. Okay. Right. What if that person is your enemy? Then also no. What if he is your boyfriend? No, sir. What if he is your husband, future husband? Then also no. You are very absolute. What if it is UPSC board? Okay, go ahead. See, I will be making jokes during my ethics classes because if not, it gets boring for me. Forget you, it gets boring for me, that's why. Right? Please write. Sir, you are also wearing a lucky charm. Does it work? But go ahead. Right. And if you are saying yes, I will kill, you have to give a justification. And if you are saying no, you have to give a justification. Not a 150 word answer, just a very brief justification. That's all. We'll start with IPS officer, Omkar. Will you kill? Justification. Mm-hmm. Good. Very good. Is there anyone who has said that you are going to kill? Anyone? You people, you are not very interesting then.
Even if I say I would kill, I mean, in other countries there's euthanasia and everything, so
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is okay when a person is like, okay, now I don't give him an extra dose, he might die after a few
Mm-hmm.
hours.
Yes.
So at least for him to not go through that pain of few hours.
There's nothing wrong as such. It's illegal. Right? But in terms of me judging you, when I'm judging you, I can judge by your medical ethics, I can judge by my own morality. If I'm sitting in a medical board, which is going through your case, I will say that you are wrong, you should be punished. If I'm judging you by myself, I'll have respect for you. That's a different thing. Write down one more case study, listen to me, listen. First listen, then write. You are in charge of distributing subsidies. Okay. Now in India, whenever you want to get some subsidy, you need to have some documents. Yes or no? Now there comes a lady who does not have documents, but she is visibly so poor that you think she deserves. And when you inquire around with people from the area, they justify saying that, no sir, she is the most eligible person. We have seen her since last 20 years. There is no one to take care of her. What will you do in this case? Will you give her subsidy? Your morality says that you should give her subsidy. Your profession says you should follow standard operating procedure. No subsidy without documents. क्या करोगे आप? अब लिखो. First and second, they are similar in a way, yes or no? Here also you should say, no sir, I won't give subsidy. You'll give. How did you change, madam? See, this is the beauty of ethics. It makes you question. But you're calculating something with your fingers. Okay. Come back. How many of you changed your opinion now? Almost all of you, right? What was it? Omkar, did you change or did you say, no sir, I'll follow SOP?
Like I follow SOP only, sir, because as a servant I should be abide by my rules and regulations.
Very good.
On the other hand, I say
But there was just yes or no here. Yes or no. There is no shades of grey, like nothing like that, black or white. Then what would you say?
same only, like I abide by rules.
Abide by rules. Okay.
But there is yes, no, there is no yes or no. But
Mhm.
still I'll see if there are some provisions. Then
So you're basically balancing. You're trying to find a harmony, right? This balanced opinion is what is required in your case studies. For the second one, you have two values. Okay? You have one compassion and the other one you have maintaining respect amongst your juniors or anything like that. You can quote almost any values. Now in your ethics syllabus, you must be remembering there is this one particular called compassionate towards weaker sections. Now remember this, write this down in your mind. Whenever there is a conflict, whenever there is a dilemma, go for that values, that course of action which is the most humane. Most humane. Coming to the question of active euthanasia. Don't give him overdose, but don't give him any medicines. Getting my point? And on the other hand, you petition so that his way of life might change a bit. Don't give him medicine, don't give him anything. Petition to the courts saying that this person requires. But imagine you are giving all this life support, all this medicines, and it is keeping him alive, but there is no quality. You cannot actively overdose him, but what you can do, passively remove everything. You can do that, na? That's the most humane thing to do in that option. There was a way out. There was a balance. That is what you are, right, expected to find out within that time frame. They will give you a very long case study, very long. You need to develop quick thinking of mind to find that. Okay. So yes, we have done what is good life. Let me come back. So you have morality, which is personal, which is based on culture, and you have ethics, which can be based out of professions as well. The other major difference between ethics and morality is ethics is relatively constant. Now if you look at medical ethics, what it is today and 50 years before, it has not changed much. But morality is something which can change. When I was growing up, I thought LGBTQ or alternative lifestyle was a bit unnatural. That was my morality. But now that I think about it, after all this knowledge that I have accumulated, even though I might not personally agree with it, but I do respect their liberty to have their own lifestyle. Is there not a change in my morality? It has changed. When India got independence, we have enacted our constitution. Article 21 at that point in time read, procedure established by law. In Menaka Gandhi case, that morality changed from procedure established by law to due process of law. Section 377, it criminalized homosexual relations, sexual relations. Right? This section 377 was taken away. In which case? Navtej Johar case. You remember? This is what we call as change in constitutional morality. Ethics will remain the same. Constitutional morality is subject to more change compared to ethics. This is what your applied ethicists believe in all of their works. Now listen to me carefully. Till now there has been no question where they have asked difference between ethics and morality. And as per my opinion, there is not going to be any question. The reason being, if you look at 2013 till 2022, UPSC itself has used both ethics and morality in an interchangeable manner. Okay, so in their mind, when they are preparing the questions, ethics and morality one and the same. But just for our sake of clarity, we did this. Got my point? Write down in your notes now. Write down in your notes. Morality. These are our notions of what is right and wrong. Full stop. It is usually used in a synonymous manner. Video bartilla anta heltidare nodi. It is usually used in a synonymous manner with ethics. It is usually used in a synonymous manner with ethics. Full stop. However, since 1960s and 70s, both started to have a different meaning. Once applied ethics started to emerge. Full stop. The basic differences are, please write down what is there on the board. The basic differences between ethics and morals are, write down that. Is it done? Next, give the heading Essence of Ethics. Give the heading Essence of Ethics. Come back. Listen to me. Have you come across this term essence? Have you come across this term in your life? क्या होता है essence? What is its meaning? Sorry? What is the essence of UPSC exams? Volatility. That is what you believe in, right? What is the essence of water? What is the essence of water? Solid, liquid and gas. All three it can be. It can absorb, dissolve, a lot many things. Yes or no? Essence is nothing but the true quality of something. Its dictionary meaning is this. Essence is nothing but true quality. Listen, you don't have to write, I'll dictate, no? Don't worry. Essence is nothing but true quality of a substance. Now, why have they used essence of ethics in UPSC? Before that, let me say why they have used human interface. You might know this. See, when I am interacting with you, am I interacting based on certain terms and conditions that we have signed all of us together? Have you signed anything, or is it invisible? Invisible. That invisible is nothing but ethics. You are showing me respect, I am also showing you respect. Yes or no? You are giving me discipline, I am also trying to give you discipline. Human interface. Now imagine you are from America or from some other part of the world. When that person comes and interacts with you, you don't interact just in the way that they do. There is some unwritten rules that you are using, right? When you are interfacing with others. Now you have your own value system, I have my own value system. But when I am interacting with you, when I am interfacing with you, we are focusing on certain general set of rules and regulations that everyone agrees. Ethics. You got my point? Ethics is that interfacing tool that we have been using since a long time. Now coming to the essence of ethics, how many of you have read at least one book related to ethics? Please answer honestly. This is ethics class, honestly Vivek. How many of you have not read any book related to ethics? Raise your hand. How long have you been in UPSC field, madam? The silent one. What's your name? Silent people are called as deadly. Is that true in your case? What is your name? Serene. Siri. Oh, I thought you said sarin gas. Go ahead. Tell me, madam. Very recently. You are in UPSC since how many years? Last year, is it? Anyone who is in this field since last 2 years? Minimum. Essence of ethics. What do you think, Omkar, essence is? Which book have you read? Vision, is it? Okay. Blue book, some book you have read. Red book, is it? Notes, is it? Yes. Tell me, Omkar, have they defined what is essence? They have defined ethics, that's all. Essence of ethics ke liye, if I remember correctly. I think there is that lady who teaches there. Right. Instead of teaching ethics, sometimes she teaches society. No offense to her, I have respect, just saying. Listen to me carefully. Essence of ethics is over and above the definitions that we have already written. The true quality of ethics is to find the nature of good. Getting my point? Ethics is good. Now when I take science, let me come at it from a different angle so that I'll simplify things. Now what is the essence of science? Do you believe everything that I tell you in science? So what do? You observe, you experiment, you analyze, then you come to conclusion. Yes or no? When we talk about what is the essence of ethics entails that you find what is good by a proper method of moral inquiry. And what is a moral inquiry? Nothing but what you are doing in the science, experimenting, analyzing. Essence of ethics is trying to find about that good through moral inquiry, normative behaviors. What is normative behaviors? Trying to find normative behaviors. What is good? And finally, evolving a moral framework to determine what is good. You got my point? You want to find what is that good, and you are employing that inquiry method. After finding that, You are suggesting it to be followed. After suggesting it, after observing it, then you are evolving a moral framework that can guide us. That is the essence of ethics. Now, why has UPSC included this topic? It does not want you to accept whatever is being taught by philosophers or great leaders. It wants you to inquire about it. It wants you to understand and implement some of these morality that you have learned. Doctrine of trusteeship, they want you to learn from it. You're getting my point? That is the essence of ethics. The reason why I have asked whether you have read any book or anything like this is because whatever books I have read, which you also refer, they have not given a due amount of justice to this small but yet important concept. Now you understood what is the essence of ethics. It's not just about good, it's about how you find that good, how you are implementing it, how you learn from it, and how you evolve a framework for the present and also for the future. That is the essence of ethics. Got my point? Write down. Essence of ethics. The essence of ethics entails to understand what is good, entails to understand what is good through a proper system of moral inquiry, suggesting moral behaviors, based on such enquiries, and evolving a moral framework that can guide us further in the path of goodness. This much is enough. Okay? Nothing more than that. So what are the three things it has? Moral inquiry, behaviors, moral framework. Three important parameters. Essence of ethics. Imagine if they give you, what do you understand by essence of ethics? Okay? So you have to be careful here. Now, come back, listen to me. There is this term in your ethics and human interface called as consequence. What is a consequence? End result, output. Yes or no? Now, if you are ethical in your actions, what do you think the output is going to be? Good. Now, this is a general way of putting it. Now, let me give you some examples and then I'll come at it from a different angle. I told you that you have to give me names of those Nobel Prize winners who are not Kailash Satyarthi or Malala Yousafzai. So you were a bit hesitant. Now these two people you see, her name is Nadia Murad and his Dennis. Now when we talk about this Nadia Murad, she was captured by these ISIS terrorists. You have heard of them, right? ISIS in Iraq. Now when they captured her, they kept her imprisoned and they used her, right, in a very inhumane manner. She escaped that physical torture and then she came out and she did not sit silent. She started talking about ISIS torture, specifically women. And she has also written a book, The Last Girl. And she was also awarded Nobel Peace Prize. Now here, she has gone through punishment, she has gone through pain, she did not sit silent, she came out, she spoke. Is that good or bad? Now what was the good of her action of coming out and speaking? Was any good which came out of it? What was any good that came out of it? It did. Nadia Murad threw light on sexual harassment that happens in these areas, conflicted areas. UN had to take note. Mr. Dennis has also done a similar thing. Those people who have been sexually trafficked or abused, he takes care of their health for free cost. My friends, when you follow ethics in your actions, some of the crimes which are happening in the present, you will try to find solutions. Can I say that? That is one specific consequence of ethics in human actions. When you are ethical in your actions, some of the social crimes which are happening, you can find a solution for it. You all must be remembering Rajaram Mohan Roy. Right? Rajaram Mohan Roy fought for the abolition of sati. Now what was the consequence of that? Same thing. His ethical actions ended the inhumane practice, inhumane social practice of sati. So if someone asks you why you need to be ethical, if someone asks you how ethics contributes to human and social well-being, ethics, being ethical in our actions can end certain crimes which are happening. Can I say that? Absolutely so. 2 questions so far have been asked on this theme. Explain why one needs to be ethical. Okay. Explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. Nadia Murad and Dennis. I have made it a point not to give you so much of modern India history names. Right? If I say Rajaram Mohan Roy, you will say Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar, and the list continues. There is no originality there. So I am assuming that you know all these modern history names, and what I have to do is give you value additions like this. Will that be all right? Yes. Moving on. Why you need to be ethical in your actions? You see here Azim Premji, you see here Bill Gates. Both of their names you will use as example in your answers. When they are ethical, how are they showing ethics in their human actions? How are they showing it specifically? Charity, right? Azim Premji is one of the highest charitable donors in our country and also in the world. Bill Gates is also similar. Bill Gates has made medicines accessible in Africa and elsewhere in developing countries. So can I say that being ethical in human actions, right? Can I give even their names for fighting out certain inequality? Can I say that? So being ethical in human actions can help us in fighting inequality. That's your second argument. I want you to write down the name of a person. His name is Charles Chuck Feeney. Write down his name, back of the book. Charles Chuck Feeney. Charles Chuck Feeney. Listen to me now. He was at one point in time one of the most richest person in America. One of the most richest person. So what was the business that he was doing? If you have visited airports, there they will have outlets, retail outlets where you can buy chocolates, toys and everything. Charles' business was this retail outlets. And he had those retail outlets almost in every other part of the world. He made tons and tons of money. But Charles knew that it is not money which creates good life. So what he did, he started donating. And he donated not in a very celebrity type of open visible manner. He started to donate in an invisible manner. He never marketed his donation. Only when someone had filed a case against him. In the court, Charles had to show his financial records. Only then it became public that Charles has donated most of his wealth. Most of his wealth. So when people asked him, the journalist asking, Mr. Charles, why are you doing this? You are one of the most richest person on this planet and you have donated almost all of your wealth. Charles then says, I have a moral purpose and my moral purpose is to die broke. How many of you have that? No sir, I have to die in a 3 BHK house minimum with a swimming pool, right, guest room and all those things. And here you have a person who has a moral purpose to die broke. It is this Chuck Feeney that inspired Bill Gates, Warren Buffett and most other rich people to donate. What I am trying to say is, when you are ethical in your human actions, you will inspire others. Yes or no? That is your third argument. Why you should be ethical? You will inspire. Now, why is UPSC teaching you this? Tomorrow when you become civil servants, you are our role models. You should realize this now. Please don't act like Sindhuri and Rupa. Okay? You have to be a bit more professional. When you are good role models, you inspire others to do good. When you are bad role models, you will inspire others to do bad. And civil servants should not be bad, both in their personal as well in their professional life. You guys agree with me? What is the name of that billionaire? Charles Chuck Feeney. Why I made you to write back of the book is, sometimes even your evaluators will not know of him. In case if you are writing about Charles Chuck Feeney, you will say an American billionaire who donated all of his wealth. I want you to explain it. You got my point, right? Moving on, what is the argument here? Being ethical inspires others. Come back. Listen to me. Who is this guy? Jamshedji Nasruddin, yes, Tata. Now this founder of Tata Enterprises, he opened a cotton mill in a place called Nagpur. So before opening this cotton mill, Mr. Tata had travelled all across the world, learnt about cotton industries, all their strategies and techniques. He came to Nagpur because that was the ideal location, close raw materials, labor surplus and everything. Now he got equipments, modern equipments, which took him 4 months to reach. He opens up a factory and everything. It has modern equipments, you have laborers and everyone. Work starts. After few days, what output Mr. Tata was expecting? Only 18% of that output he is realizing. Only 18%. Imagine your Tata. You have travelled all across the world. You have bought sophisticated, costly things. How would you feel? Happy or sad? Neither. You will feel angry. Yes or no? Why was the output 18%? The output was 18% because the people were not coming to the factories. They were bunking. Sir, ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಹಬ್ಬ ಇದೆ, ನಾಳೆ ಹಬ್ಬ ಇದೆ, ಅಜ್ಜಿ ತೀರ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರು, right? All these reasons Indians give, na? Now Tata could have acted in a very angry, revengeful manner, and he could have sent away all those people and got someone else employed. He could have done that. But what Mr. Tata did was, he got all employees and he told them, you please work for me. I will give you insurance. I will give you accidental insurance. And I will make sure that if you do well, I will give you bonuses. I will take care of the education of your children. If you are working in that factory, what would you do? Would you bunk or would you go? You would go. Here he could have acted in a very unethical way using bad values, but Mr. Tata did the opposite. When he did the opposite, what did he get? What was the consequence of ethics in Tata's actions here? He got the support. He got the trust. Can I say that? And as human beings, forget human beings, when you become civil servants, do you not need it? Absolutely you need it. Yes or no? That is one more thing. Till now, from the start of the class, almost till the end, have I taught you ethics in GS1, 2, 3 format? No. If you write answers in GS1, 2, 3 format, I'll send you to Pakistan. Okay. You have to be in ethical trust and support. What is it that you will learn from this Tata's story? See, in my OGP classes, I tell lots of stories. But since it is an intensive crash course, I cannot. But I still paused and told you this story because in case study, imagine you are a civil servant, you have been sent to a department where others are not motivated at all. You are a recent recruit, Josh at that time will be high. You are sent to a department where the juniors don't care. Chalta hai attitude hai. How will you discipline them? Will you punish them? You can punish them. But that won't be the most humane thing or the most ethical thing to do. You have to motivate them, incentivize them. Like how Mr. Tata did here. Consequence of ethics in human actions. Next. What is the symbol of? United Nations. Very good. Now, prior to United Nations, you had one more. What was that? League of Nations. Now, please remember, the moment they say consequence of ethics in human actions, it's not just strictly speaking related to you or me as human beings. It applies even to organizations. Right? Because the steps that these people are taking, United Nations, are they not affecting humans? Yes or no? Like this. Now, League of Nations was a success or a failure? It was a failure, right? Since it was a failure, that is why we had World War II. After that, we have set up United Nations. Now, United Nations, since setting up, has averted major world wars. Here and there, wars have happened. United Nations has failed in that regard, but major world wars have not happened. You guys agree with me? What is the reason behind it? You have to present an ethical argument. The reason behind it, in League of Nations, power was at the center. The developed countries wanted to hold to that power. You are agreeing with me? But in United Nations, you have gone for a much more responsible use of power. Much more responsible, not ideal, much more. When you are acting, when you go for responsible usage of power, do you think conflicts can come or conflicts can reduce? Reduce. Conflicts can still come, but in general, it will reduce. Consequence of ethics in human actions. When I have power, but I don't deal with you in power, I deal with you with a civilized language, with a happy language, right? You are more probable to follow what I say. Yes or no? Like that. Responsible usage of power can reduce conflicts. If I start scolding you like Sai Kumar, Kannada actor, what will you do? You will also scold me, Sai Kumar 2.0. Right? Responsible usage of power. You all must be knowing Panchashil. Shashank sir will be teaching you about Panchashil. Mutual respect, non-interference. ये governance का term नहीं है. This is completely ethical terminologies. When we showcase ethics in human actions at a collective level of organizations like this, there is a probability that there will be peace and stability. That's another argument. This one is unity. Now, when I am interacting with you, and I am interacting with you where I am showcasing the values of brotherhood, love, and everything else, do you think there will be any rise of communalism, radicalism, regionalism? कुछ नहीं होता है. Even though I thoroughly hate CSK, right? I have to respect. right? When I say I hate CSK, it's because you people don't respect RCB, that's why. Right? But those are all sports related things, forget. You're getting my point. When you're ethical in your human actions, when you're interfacing with others, there is a lot more probability that unity in that society or in that country can be maintained. Now, what is the example that I can use here? Can you give me an example? How ethics breeds unity, can you give me an example? A real example, not like CSK versus RCB. You remember COVID, right? Both the first and the second, they were very painful. Second wave even more so. Now during the second wave of pandemic, everyone felt a bit compassionate towards those who are suffering, yes or no? Now when you were donating money to PM CARES fund, when you were donating rice to the local NGOs, for once, did you ask to which person that rice is going, to which person that money is going? No. Compassionate is an ethical aspect, yes or no? So when you showcase that ethical aspect, you breed unity, you breed brotherhood, and you completely deal with your radicalism and all such things. You guys agree with me? Can you give me one more example like this, which you can quote in your answers? There is one more faculty which I had the honor of learning from. The faculty is very good. But when I learned from that faculty and when I went to the examination hall, it was a complete blank. The reason being, the said faculty used to tell us stories. Long stories. My IAS friend is like this, my IAS friend is like IPS, I teach there, I teach here. I was taken aback, my God, such a knowledgeable person, and he is knowledgeable, nothing wrong with that. But the stories that he told, you cannot put it in your ethics paper. You need quotable examples. COVID compassion is quotable. You agree with me? One more example which you can quote in your answer in this way. How does ethics breed unity among people? One more. Quotable example, please. You have come across it multiple times. Quotable example. How? Specific action I want. When I gave you COVID and compassion, it was very specific, right? So one more thing like that. In the present or it can be in the past. Yes, madam.
When the government banned the internet in Kashmir and all that, like, people actually came together for their.
Okay. Now you cannot say Kerala floods, Assam floods, everything. That spirit is done. You have to be diverse. Remember, diverse set of examples. India stands during Cold War. Okay. Right. Apart from that, can I give you another example? Hey, same spirit, madam. You remember Lokpal movement, right? Now all of us have witnessed corruption in one way or the other. In one way or the other. Traffic or kottirthivi, 100 rupayi, 150, sometimes 20, 35 rupees. That also they don't leave. Now when Anna Hazare came out and spoke against corruption, and when I participated, because at that time I was in engineering, all of you, some of you might have been in, not some, most of you would have been in schools or first or second PU, I guess. Schools, I guess, right? 2011. So what I am trying to say here is, don't calculate now, come back. It was good times, I know, compared to what we are now. So what I am trying to say is, when you are on the side of ethics, unity will be there. Anna Hazare spoke against corruption. The people who supported him, they were not from one community, they were from multiple communities. And the biggest and the most obvious, when we fought for our independence, okay, at least in the initial stages, were we fighting based on the notions of religion? No. We were fighting on the notions of getting a good, dignified life for Indians, over and above what Britishers were giving us. Yes or no? That is a quotable example. What are the other things? How does ethics breed unity? Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Is there any person here who hates him? No. Everyone supports him. Swami Vivekananda, same thing. Right? These are people that we will follow till our death. It's like that. Okay. Anything else which gives justification to this? Usually in my OGP classes, I make students write 5 examples after I give them 10. But here, since it is intensive, we will not be having time. But I am trusting you that over and above what examples I dictate in the class, you will go back home, sit, and you will add few more. Okay. This is very simple. If your ethics, do you think there will be corruption in the society? No. If there is no ethics, people will stuff money in their pipes, water pipes and everywhere else. Right. Yes. Can you guess who this person is? Do you know who this person is? Can you guess what his occupation might be? President, very good. President of which country, madam? He was president of a country called as Uruguay. Now here we have MLAs coming in Fortuners, right, asking for Fortuners from the government, and here you have a president called Jose Mujica from Uruguay, who used his own personal vehicle, and that personal vehicle was 1970s or 80s ka Beetle. What is that president showing? Which value is he showcasing? Humbleness, humility. Can I say that? And you go back to that Harvard Business ka article that I showed you. Bottom up approach. What mindset you need to have? Humble mindset. Who are you more probable to follow? A humble president or an aggressive, egoistic president like Donald Trump? Humble president, right? When you show ethics in your public domain, in your public servant, values such as humbleness, right? That again inspires others. Okay? Now, why did he do what he did? Any idea? Why did he do what he did? Why did he choose this and not use government vehicles and everything? Come on. Professional ethics, forget those things. Just look for simple reasons. Materialism should not control us. Desires should not control us. Yes or no? Is it a GS2 or a GS4 argument? GS4. When you control your desires, there is a probability that you will be truly happy in life, which is a end goal of everyone. Yes or no? Yes. When you are ethical, you will be truly happy. Not just happy, truly happy. So what have we just discussed today? What are the things that we discussed? Definitions of ethics, right? Difference between ethics and morality, essence of ethics, and we understood what is good life. Fifth one is consequences of ethics, or why you should be ethical. Okay. From tomorrow onwards, it's going to be a 6-hour class. We will give a break in the middle. Once I do a bunch of topics, I will be making you write an answer in the class itself. Do you want me to give you a homework, or will you take a day off today? Take a day off. Write a question, please. Write a question. Explain how ethics, this is a PYQ question. Explain how ethics, NGOs, ethics breeds unity. Me Too movement. Yes, Sheetal, very good example. Explain how ethics contributes to social and human well-being. How many marks? This is for 10 marks. This is for 10 marks. So how many pages of notes we did today? 4 or 5 pages, is it? You want more elaborate notes? I won't. This is going to be the pace. I will not be increasing the pace. This is how it is going to remain. Just few more questions. Last year ka mains. Alright. The rank holders marks. Have you all seen some of the marks? Not all, some of the marks you have seen. What is the highest marks in this one? Essay? 145. Pakka? 149. One of my students scored 166. Imagine scoring 166 in UPSC essay, where some of the rank holders have scored as less as 87, 105 and 110. Unfortunately, she could not clear mains. Some of my students and also Shashank sir's students, they have managed to score 130, 135 even though the paper was long. Why am I telling you these things? Please stick to what we tell you. Don't break that barrier or boundary unnecessarily. There is place for your originality, but first understand what is there within the boundary. You practice, and I give you my word, whatever you aspire 120 plus you will get. Because this is time tested formula which we have applied. In your case, I am very jealous of you people. We never had faculties who guided us in this way. Forget faculties, we did not have mentors who guided us in this way. I told you about that famous faculty, stories my stories. Right? Go ahead. So from tomorrow 7 AM till 2 PM. Half an hour extra will do. Okay? Thank you.